right, Gamecock fans, Rooster Man back here. Happy Sunday to all you guys, no matter where you are in the world today. Happier Sunday than it's been in a while, right? South Carolina goes out, handles business against Coastal Carolina, 51-7, and the world has gone crazy again in Gamecockville. Oh my God, perspective, reality. The reality is we beat a Coastal Carolina team. Lost to Virginia 48-7. Lost to East Carolina 38-0. Last week lost to Georgia Southern. And South Carolina goes out, blows them out. We did what we're supposed to do, right? Supposed to win that football game. You look at the talent, the speed, the size. South Carolina has all the advantages. And you should win that football game. And it shouldn't be close. The reality of the situation is the season's so far gone. There's really nothing. Even a win against Coastal has some fans really excited and happy or whatever, just because you want to win. You always want to win. But then there's to the point to where what's next for South Carolina, of course, is to play Clemson. And you want to win that game too. You want to win every game you play. But the reality of we're not going to play in December or January. This team will not be back on the field until August, September of next year before we get to see another football game besides the spring game, which I don't know. So where's the excitement for South Carolina fans right now? Still a lot of questions. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Does Sean Elliott stay at O-line? Do we hire a new O-line coach and leave Sean goes back to where he was? Do we hire a new tight end coach? It's all about perspective, and it's about some of the reality. The reality of it, we haven't been good enough all year. We're 1-7 against the SEC. That's our conference, guys. I mean, that's the reality of it. We can get excited. We can be excited about Coastal Carolina all we want and a win. But at the end of the day, you should win that football game. But before we get too far into it, please like, subscribe. I appreciate all you guys for coming in. But let's look at the reality of the situation when we talk about Coastal. We have a head coach in Shane Beamer who makes over $8 million a year. Probably makes more than the whole staff at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina's been giving away concessions trying to get people to come to football games. Let's just say their budget's not the greatest when it comes to NIL and coaching and all the things that you need money to really compete against the big football teams in college football. South Carolina does have that. Like I said, we have a head coach that makes over $8 million, which is probably more than the whole staff at Coastal, if we're honest with ourselves. We have two players probably between Lenore Sellers and Dylan Stewart that makes more NIL money than the whole program at Coastal Carolina has in their budget. And we say, how do we know that? We remember when Sean Elliott left from Georgia State, one of the things is he didn't have the money. He didn't really have an NIL budget to the point where he thought he would be competitive as a head coach. So he stepped down and came to South Carolina where he knew the money would be, where you could get the players and you could compete. But it's all in how you look at the situation. And I get it. You want to be excited. I see the South Carolina fans, the Twitter fans. But until South Carolina, as fans, until we change our mindset, this is going to be a seriously mediocre program. Celebrating wins against Coastal Carolina to the point that some of these Gamecock fans have done, it's laughable. You get laughed at by every other major college football program. Do you think teams are out here celebrating wins over Murray State and Mercer and the teams like Alabama, the successful football teams? Do you think they celebrate that kind of thing? Is it a big deal? No, you just look at the score outside. If you're looking outside as a Gamecock fan and you're looking at a team like Georgia and they go beat up on a small team, They beat Charlotte 35-3. It wasn't no major blowout, but Kirby doesn't really do that very often to smaller football teams. He's not. That's just not his style. How do we look at that? Well, Georgia should beat them. You got to use the same perspective on South Carolina. Just because we're a fan doesn't mean our delusion needs to be more than what it really is, y'all. But until we change our mindset as fans, and we're okay with just being okay, and sometimes not even okay. This year's not okay. There's nothing about this year that's okay. People get mad at me because I tell them, hey, look, this is Coastal. And people go, they're crazy. Mike Furrey needs to be offensive coordinator. Dude, we only put up over 100, little over 100-something yards offense in the second half yesterday. We did shit against Texas A&M. And y'all already ready to crown this guy the next offensive coordinator for South Carolina. Stop it. Every time something small happens in South Carolina, stop thinking that it's the greatest thing that's ever going to happen to South Carolina. This is the problem with our university. This is the problem that has always been in our university. This is the problem that will continue to be at our university and in this football program and in the basketball program and in the baseball program as long as we have that mindset. You need to expect more. You need to demand more as a fan. If we want to be mediocre, go out and get you a $2 to $3 million coach like when we hired Beamer. Take the rest of that $5 to $6 million and donate it to kids with cancer or kids that are starving, families that are starving, whatever you need to do. And then just be and decide that that's what we're going to do. But to pay a coach $8 million and be okay with just being okay doesn't make sense. It's not reality of the way the world works anymore. I get it. It gets to a certain point. So that's just the history of South Carolina. I had a nice gentleman leave a comment on the show today about he's in Kansas. He's 62. And he thinks we should just leave it to Sean Elliott and Mike Furrey as OC and keep Beamer around. And that's his perspective, and it's his right to feel that way. It's his opinion. My opinion is that's the same old thinking. Nothing against the gentleman. That's the same old thinking that keeps us where we are. Somebody that was on one of the shows inside the Gamecocks, I think it's Rob or whatever that runs the SEC Sunday night show for them, said something last week, and I had to disagree with Rob. And there's nothing wrong with Rob. Rob's a nice guy. But South Carolina through history, man, we should expect to be a 7-8 win team and every once in a while punch up. I disagree with that statement when you're paying your coach $8 million. If you want to pay a $5 million coach and you make that statement, or a $4 million coach and you make that statement, then the reality is you get what you pay for. And that's what we're paying for. But that's not what we're paying for. We're paying Shane Beamer a top, and I don't know how many times I got to say this, top 20 salary that you can look up. Now, I say top 25 because private schools don't have to tell you how much they're paying their coaches, and everyone knows that. So I just put it in a round, even box and said Shane Beamer makes within the top 25 highest salaries of any college football coach. People need to look up these types of things. You want to look up all the stats in the world and all that stuff about the team and where we're at offensively, where we're at defensively. Look up coaching salaries. Please, just Google it. Highest paid college football coaches. And it'll give you a list of everybody down there. Shane Beamer sits at number 20. But like I said, private schools, the teams like Vanderbilt and stuff, they don't have to put out what Clark Lee makes. Now, I don't think Clark Lee makes what Shane Beamer makes, to be honest. Vanderbilt, I don't see them paying that kind of money, but he's probably not far behind. But I don't see him making $8.15 million a year. Until we as fans start demanding more, expecting more, we're going to sit where we are because we're going to settle for what we got. Who in this world was born to settle for where you are and what you got? People out there work harder every day to make a bigger salary. They work harder every day to get a nicer house. They work harder every day to get a newer, nicer car. Everything you work for is because you want more. And when you're paying somebody, the expectations go up. Every raise I've ever gotten in my life come with higher expectations. You can't just say, I'm going to pay you a shit ton more money, Shane Beamer, and we know when we brought you on board, you made $2.5 million. You won 6 games, 7 games. And now say we're going to give you $6 million more dollars, and it's still okay to win 6 and 7 games. It's business versus. I don't know how people think that college football is still like a sport, amateur sport. It's not. And I know we look at these kids as kids, but at the end of the day, they're paid. They're employees, dude. I mean, I can remember 11, 12 years old shoveling horse shit out of stalls. I can remember 14, 15 years old bagging groceries and stocking shelves and mopping floors. And the older I got, the more money I made. The tougher the job got, the more expectations come with that job. So why are we okay with paying coaches to be okay? Why are we okay with paying players to be okay? No, they're paid to win. They're paid to win, y'all. The expectations for what South Carolina did yesterday against Coastal should be exactly what happened. The point that we had to worry about it going into the week and talk about it all last week, that, oh shit, Coastal's a good football team and they may keep this game close and kind of got to worry about what's going to happen. The fact that we even had to talk about that is sad as a South Carolina fan. The fact that we even had to talk about it with the money that is around our university, with the money that we're paying players, with the money that we're paying coaches, with the facilities that South Carolina has, with the money that's coming in to upgrade Williams-Brice Stadium, it is sad that you have to look at a team that you should beat and worry whether you can or not. But that is the level of South Carolina fan, and all of a sudden jumping on a bandwagon because you went out and beat a team you were supposed to beat, and you beat them by a score you should have beat them by. Just because it's been so bad doesn't mean you lower your expectations, guys. No. It's for the administration, the university, anyone involved with the sports programs to up their game. If they're going to pay out that kind of money, you up it. If not, let's just go be a group of 5 school. Get out of being in the SEC. Forget about getting that $60-70 million in TV money every year, and worry about winning games. Drop down your salaries. You drop down your NILs. The fans can still. No fan wants to drop back. You know, I hear fans. South Carolina needs to be in the ACC. Why would you take a pay cut to go back to the ACC? No, you up your standards to meet the SEC. You don't lower your standards to go back to the ACC. Who the hell steps backwards in their career? If you make $100,000 a year, do you want to drop down to making $50,000 a year? You still got to do the same job, but you're making less money. It doesn't add up. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. And I'm not trying to be hateful today. It's great. It's Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. I woke up to another beautiful day down here in South Central Florida. And I know there's a lot of people in a lot of worse positions than I am in life. And I guess that's why I have perspective on life, perspective on business. I've been through the battles, the wars. I've seen things. I have things to lean on. We older fans have a lot of things through life to lean on. The ones that have gone through the struggles, not everybody's been all the way to the bottom. Some people's never had to experience that and crawl their way back up. But it ain't that easy out there. But if you're going to get up every day and raise the expectations for yourself, You should raise the expectations for people around you. If you're going to spend the money to show up to football games, to buy Gamecock paraphernalia, to do anything that supports this university money-wise, you should demand more. And people will come tell me, well, you just need to go find another team. No. If you don't expect the best out of your team, you need to go find another team. People that don't expect the high expectation for South Carolina and want to raise the expectations for South Carolina, you need to go find another team. Go support a team that's okay with being mediocre, because I think my team should have higher expectations. Anyway, Rooster's getting out of here for today before I get on another rant. Love you all. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we will get into the conversation about offensive coordinators this week. But y'all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Peace.